Hello,
everyone. Welcome to episode 179 of Lonely Gods. I'm your host, David, and I'm joined here, as always, by Kate.
Hi, Dave. You sound
Hi,
like you've
Kate.
been drained of all energy in life.
I have been relaxing all week, and it has been very nice.
That sounds
And
gay.
I had been very busy for like a month and a half, and I got a week off, so that was fun.
Well, we've both been pretty busy.
I did spend a lot of time playing with metal balls, so I don't know. Is it gay, Kate?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay.
When was the last time we recorded? I don't remember.
I don't know. I feel like
it was before I went to London.
Was it over a month ago? Has it been over a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried.
We did try.
Yeah. Kate got married and went on her honeymoon, and I had to move across the country. A lot's happened.
Yeah, well, I think I've been on the podcast since the wedding. I think it was a honeymoon that we left
I think you're right.
at.
I think we recorded right in between those.
Yeah, probably, something like that. But London was pretty cool. Very tiring.
Did you go to the Doctor Who museum?
No, I think that's in Cardiff.
I don't know where it is.
But even if it wasn't, like, there was other much more important things to worry about than Doctor Who. The only thing I thought was like that happened with Doctor Who was on Saturday. We were there for a week. We arrived on Sunday, so Saturday was our last day there, and we went out with our friend Tony, and we were shopping at around. I was looking for used DVDs, of which I found many, by the way. So I found the first new series box set, which is the only one I was missing. So that's nice to fill in that. I didn't find any classic stuff I didn't already have, but one of the places we stopped at was Forbidden Planet, which is world famous, and it's actually a terrible, terrible store.
Is Forbidden Planet? I thought that was is it the first one in London? I thought it was in America.
Well, I don't know.
It's a chain, I think. Like a small chain, but a chain.
It's a London thing, apparently. But anyway, they were having a signing, actually, the day we were there. People who did, like, the concept art for Solo were there signing an art book. And, like, there was, like, maybe 3 people in line. Like, nobody cared.
That's sad. I liked that movie.
I thought it was funny. Not the movie, I haven't seen it because I don't care, but I thought it was funny.
You're a Star Wars person.
No, I'm not a Star Wars person. But anyway, they had at Forbidden Planet a whole like wall of Doctor Who DVDs and audios, and it's probably the only place I've ever seen Big Finish sold physically, like at a store, which was neat.
That's cool. Did you take a picture?
I didn't, no, and I didn't buy anything either because it was ridiculously overpriced. Like when we went there, Tony basically told us like, this is where you come to get ideas of what to buy on Amazon.
Yes. Well, see, and you know what? But I didn't take because I went to Amoeba Records this week, which is like the famous record store in San Francisco, and that was exactly what I like. There's literally another record store down the block that has like a third of as much merchandise, but all reasonably priced.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was a cool store. There's a lot of neat stuff in it. There's books and comics and DVDs and, memorabilia and figurines and stuff like that. But it's all like just a retarded markup because they got the name recognition, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah, no, I
was like, I had so much more fun and so much more success at the fucking used DVD junk stores that we went to than I did at Forbidden Planet. But so it was neat to see a big shelf full of Big Finish, like actually like sold somewhere.
That is really cool,
though. Otherwise, yeah, nothing really Doctor Who-ish. I recognized some of the landmarks, I guess, as we were sort of going around the city. I'm like, oh, this is where the Daleks crossed over that bridge and that one thing. And like, oh, that tower, that's where the War Machine thing was. Like, but yeah, nothing Doctor Who related, and it's not that important, really. We were busy going to cool things like museums and Westminster Abbey, and
I love museums.
I love museums too.
Museums are the best.
Yeah, we saw Hamlet at the Globe Theatre, and that was fun.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's a lot more cool than wandering Doctor Who exhibits. It's culturally enriching.
I might be seeing the Harry Potter play in like October. That's slightly British.
Cursed Child. Yeah, there was advertisements for that all over the fucking tube stations. But, Hamlet. we had 1 week and like 2 or 3 things per day to get through, so we didn't really have a lot of time for impromptu things.
No, I totally understand.
So it was not a sit around relax vacation. It was a fucking hurt your back and get sunburned and hate yourself vacation.
Did you walk around the city a lot?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
were on the move all day. Like, so, I mean,
It's neat but exhausting.
it was neat but exhausting, and I felt kind of embarrassed because it's like, yeah, the big fat tourist has to like stop at a bench every 3 feet, but it's like, no, it's because I stood like in the pit for Hamlet in the hot sun, and I hurt my back, and like so like anytime I walk, it's pain all the way up my spine. Like, but whatever. I did okay. Somebody else in the pit fucking fainted, and that was before the
man
started. It was great. Yeah, so whatever. That's not Doctor Who. What else? I have notes on my phone of what's transpired. Since then.
Keep seeing every week. I see a new article about something about the new Doctor, the new season of Doctor Who, and I just get like. I don't care. When Doctor Who is not on the air, I find it hard to care about the new season. Unless you're going to give me a date and tell me when it is, I don't care. I'm just going to watch it.
I think the big deal right now is that the BBC is going to court over leakers or something like that.
Yeah. Yes, I keep seeing that.
Which I just don't, because like I'm not a spoiler hound, right?
No, and either that's the whole thing is like I won't even watch trailers online anymore. Like I'm not the asshole that like plugs his ears and closes his eyes in the movie theater. I'll watch them when I'm sitting there.
No, sure, but I mean, at least like when you're at the theater, it's part of the experience. So
yeah, I don't look for them because I want to go see the movie. Like I don't need a trailer to tell me, oh, this movie looks good. I already want to see it. Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I get the same way with like games and stuff. Like every time E3 rolls around, everyone's like, "Did you see that?" And I'm like, "No, I don't give a shit." But yeah. So I haven't been paying attention to new series news either for obvious reasons. But I did finish. I think the last time, according to my phone, the last time we recorded, I still had the Twice Upon a Time special to watch.
Yes.
I wrote down my thoughts on it and Peter Capaldi in general.
And
so it. Yeah, my thoughts on it from quite a while ago is that it was nice to see the first Doctor again. I thought Filch did a pretty good job.
Yeah, right? I thought he did a great job too.
But I think the script really overplayed the old-fashioned values card a lot. Like,
yeah,
they spent so much time having Capaldi or Bill be upset because the first Doctor said something sexist. And it's just... You know, I found it to be a disservice to the character because I really like the black and white Doctor Who's, and the first Doctor was never like that. Like they just overemphasized it to the point of just cartoonishness. The only time that it made me laugh was when he made a remark about a smack bottom, because that's something he actually said. But generally speaking, you know, Hartnell's Doctor was not a chauvinist. He was not, you know, rude.
I didn't feel that they really made him out to be in the special either. I think that they did comment on some things like just tropes that happened at the time because of the era. Like, I mean,
but the thing is like those kinds of things sure were present in some of the media at the time, but again, it wasn't the first Doctor, and it wasn't Doctor Who in general, really. I mean, you had characters like Barbara right from the outset. I mean, Verity Lambert was in charge of the show from day one. Like, you know, it's like this like willful ignorance of what the show was actually like, so that they can make cheap jokes, and it bugged me. You know, when they had him be serious instead of the uncle that you're embarrassed about at Thanksgiving or whatever, you know, that worked well. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they felt the need to do this. And, you know, I feel like the special just overall was pretty okay. I liked it, but it was very low key. It didn't really have a threat to the universe. It was just a lot of talking about accepting change and stuff like that, which
I'm totally fine with. I don't need a threat to the universe every special.
No, neither do I. And at this point, frankly, I'm getting really fucking tired of the Christmas specials. Because the connection to the holiday is always so fucking tenuous and forced these days that it could be any other episode, but at the same time it can't be any other episode because they have to shoehorn Christmas into it somehow. And I kind of don't think it's a tradition that really needs to continue. And
you're still mad about the trees.
Well, I'm not still mad about the trees. Like, I don't hold that against subsequent Christmas episodes because other ones were good.
No, I know. I mean, I think that the last two were pretty good. I like this one. I acknowledge it has some problems, but I think overall it's a good special. But I like the superhero one. It also has some problems, but I think they did a decent job with that.
I just think that it's superfluous.
That it's Christmas.
In that, not just that it's Christmas, but that it's, you know, that we still have Capaldi, because I mean the Doctor Falls and the old school Cybermen, two masters, you know, defending the colony battle. That was much more poignant. That was much more fulfilling. It was more exciting. And everything pointed to the fact that this was the end. And there's really no reason to have done this whole exercise in this special. Like, it didn't add anything to the regeneration. It didn't add anything to the character.
I suppose, but I feel like that's an argument you can use against a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean... Yeah.
Like, literally every bad audio we listen to, that's the exact argument for it, is like, what's the point of this?
Well, sure. I mean, I think we've both said before that one of Big Finish's biggest problems is that they don't know when to let go.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is a case of that. It's not, like I said, it's not a bad episode. I just think it would have been a more impactful ending.
I agree. They could have done this earlier on.
It's so stretched out, and I mean it's the new series has an issue with that, where it's like, well, we're gonna get rid of Capaldi, but we're gonna have him stumble around for a whole nother special. Or we're gonna get rid of Tennant, but he's got to make a grand fuck ass tour for the last 20 minutes of the episode. We're gonna get rid of Clara, but actually she's not dead, and she's gonna fly around in a restaurant. And it's like, just fucking, like, if you're gonna do it, do it. Like, don't be retarded.
Claire should just gone away.
Yeah, well, and then as for the elephant in the room,
at least they had like, when they got rid of Amy and Rory, that was real. Even though that episode wasn't great, their exit was really good.
Their exit, the stuff with them was really good.
Yeah,
the Angel stuff is retarded.
No, but like having shit, was it Amy or was it Rory that got killed first by the Angels technically, and then just having the other one go back to, like, it was really good.
Yeah,
which was a nice moment,
but you know,
despite the fact that the rest of the episode was pretty stupid.
But yeah, going forward, I
thought the show's over and you're done.
Well, the reason for that is because I have no faith in the writing for a female lead, not after Missy and not after Bill. And I have very, very little faith in Chris Chibnall because all of his Doctor Who and Torchwood is almost universally mediocre. And it's just, they did the female thing, and I was willing to be won over, but they did way too much at once, and it's way overplayed, and you don't need to have the Master and the Doctor. And, you know, joking this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, they had a, you know, and then it's like they've got a perfectly good character with Bill, and then they make her
dead.
Last words to the Doctor reminding him that she likes to eat pussy, and it's like, what? Like, why would you do that? I mean, I just, like, as it stands, I just don't like the level of writing that I'm seeing with the concept. I don't like this accept it or else you're an asshole attitude, and I just, you know, like, I don't think there's going to be any sort of subtlety to this. You know, it's like John and I have been watching Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone. And, you know, it strikes me how science fiction back in the day, when they would get topical and address issues, they would have metaphor. They would the good stuff. They would have metaphor, they'd have symbolism, and it's much more common then than it is now. Nowadays, nobody has any sort of, you know, they don't weave it into the story. They just set up a soapbox and get up on there and lecture you, and I don't like that. And
but that's not entirely true. They do metaphors and stuff in this day and age. There's been a really good like philosophical sci-fi movie like every year for the past like 3 or 4 years.
That's great, but I don't see that in television, and not with big franchises like Doctor Who or Star Trek anymore. I'm not saying it don't exist. I'm just saying the modern mainstream television writer, I do not trust them to have any kind of intelligence when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, you don't watch Black Mirror, do you? Like,
no, I don't, because I'm not a fucking pretentious idiot.
Why? See, we should move on.
Never. More fighting. That's what our viewer tunes in for.
So, do you have anything else? Is there any Doctor Who news?
Not really that I can think of. I mean,
besides the leaker lawsuit stuff.
Besides the leaker lawsuit,
which I haven't seen any news about leaks either. So, like,
well, no, that's good. You've done a good job for ignoring it. It's just that, like, I mean, I have an Android phone, and because I've Googled Doctor Who things, they keep like sending, like, alerts to my fucking homepage about like, oh, you might care about this, and it's like, I really fucking don't, but okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm scrolling like through the Big Finish news backlog, and it's not really anything I give a fuck about.
Alrighty then.
So
let's just get right into our actual stories for the week.
Yeah, why not?
So first up, we have Erasure, which is a
great band.
This is Fourth Doctor Adric short trip, and it is very good. And it's interesting because we don't usually see a lot of these stories where the main perspective is not the Doctor or a companion, and I always appreciate when they do that.
Yeah, I feel like they've been doing that more often with the short trips lately, because there's one like narrated by the Master that's coming up in a few months.
I feel like it fills in the world more, and I like that stuff.
Sure.
I mean, we listen to a bunch of these audio dramas. Of course, we like that stuff. So, this is the what is the Time Lord's name, Kate? That is the narrator.
Narvin of the Celestial Intervention Agency is a regular over on the Gallifrey spinoff that we haven't got around to yet.
Yes. I knew I recognized that voice too.
Yeah, I considered leaving this until we had done more Gallifrey, but you know, Big Finish marketed the short trip as a Fourth Doctor story, and there's not really anything in it that needs you to have heard Gallifrey, as long as you know what the CIA is, basically.
Yes. And Narvin is recounting the story when he met the Doctor on this planet that had discovered time travel and was using it to erase political and philosophical opponents from the timelines so that they could grow unchecked. And Narvin has shown up to essentially just erase the entire planet from existence to prevent these at a certain point, almost, if they keep doing it, catastrophic damage to the timeline. And
yeah, this is Narvin's like one of his early assignments as a young agent. Yeah, he's sent there to basically sort it out, and if you can't do it, kind of just take the nuclear option. But the Doctor and Adric are also there, and you know, the Doctor is generally not in favor of the nuclear option, so you know, he sorts it out his way first, after Adric has been erased, much to the joy of everyone in the universe.
Yes.
But unfortunately,
they bring him back. Yeah.
Yes. After the Doctor and Adric have left, Narvin comes back and erases the planet. And at the end, with Lalla Ward's cameo, we find out that he did it on Romana's orders, and they're both keeping that fact from Leela.
Which was a very nice stinger to this story.
Yes, because Leela would not understand and would be kind of just like lose respect.
Yes. It was good. I like the short trips. This was an especially good one.
Yeah, short trips, I think just especially lately have been really high quality, little bite-sized short stories, and I think it's easy for them to play with some more off the wall ideas and perspectives, and they used to do that with Companion Chronicles as well, but
yes,
since they've gone to the box set format for Companion Chronicles, even if the storylines aren't interconnected, they're kind of variations on a theme, so they don't have quite as much different ideas that they used to. So yeah, the danger with short trips is that sometimes it can feel like, what's the point of this, as we mentioned before, especially because it's like, well, it's 20 minutes and nothing happened. And there's root vegetables rebelling against people.
We like the rutabaga one.
I know. I'm just saying they come up with weird stuff, and it's not rutabaga, it's rhubarb.
Rhubarb, whatever.
Anyway,
I like when Doctor Who is weird and goofy, preferably when it's both. Especially in the short trip. I also like when it gets like weird and surreal and stuff.
Yeah.
Also when it's normal.
Well,
Yeah, obviously.
So, yeah, I enjoyed
it was
this
good.
one for
So
sure.
and this was definitely just a really compelling story, I think. And it didn't need to. It could have been longer. Like this could have been a full hour. It could have been like you could easily expand this into a larger story. But I think keeping it nice and neat like this served it better.
You're not overstretched. I mean, I think that this is like it is like 35 something minutes. So for a short trip, it is on the long side. Anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need to drag it out.
Exactly.
Like a big fat whore.
So next up we have our monthly range Fifth Doctor Turlough story, which is actually it's the Memory Bank and Other Stories. It's another collection of 4 stories, which we've had several of these now.
Yes. And they've been pretty variable, I think.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the last one. It wasn't Red Lodge. Wasn't the last one. That was one of the first ones we did, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we've done, let me see. We've done Memory Bank and Other Stories. We've done 1001 Nights. We've done Red Lodge.
1001 Nights was good.
Time in Office is kinda.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, it is sort of. Anyway. Sort of. This one's kind of more like Time in Office than like Red Lodge, but I don't know. It's like in between.
If you say so.
Yeah. All right. So first up, our first story is the Memory Bank.
Ooh.
Yes.
I can't wait till we get to Other Stories.
Where the Doctor and Turlough land on this planet where they're in like this underground data storage facility, and there's this guy wandering around with a book, and Turlough ends up taking the book and becomes the
archivist.
The archivist, that's the word. Yes.
So
because essentially it turns out that this is a planet where the way that you continue to survive is to be remembered. And and if you pay basically like health insurance, essentially, you get put into the memory bank so that someone will always remember you and you won't disappear.
It's the job of the archivist to basically relive the memories of the people who are registered with the memory bank. And yeah, if you aren't remembered, you kind of just like fade out of existence. And so the memory bank is basically for people who are at risk. People who work lonely jobs, people who don't have a lot of friends or no relatives, people who live alone, things like that. But also when people fade away, there's sometimes a monster left behind because basically what happened is this is a colony planet and they were failing. So this alien pig thing came along and was like, hey, if you let me like jack into your internet and I can like gobble up memories and stuff, you know, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And I'll feed on it, and in return, basically, like, sustain the colony. So, you know, the Doctor's not a big fan of that.
No.
So he makes friends with this, like, hobo girl, and they go take care of that. Well, Turlough loses his mind, basically.
Yeah, it was a really fun story.
Yeah, I liked it. And what I liked the most about it was when Turlough... I don't know if he's like starting to override the book or what, but like he's starting to relive his own memories instead of just the ones for the people in the archive. And so, you know, you get this nice little anecdote of Turlough as a pilot in the Civil War on Tryon, and he leaves a bunch of civilians to die because he's heard over the radio that his family home on that winter planet is in trouble, so he just kind of ditches the other people.
Yeah.
And it's a nice reflection coming to the end of Turlough's time with the show about sort of how he's developed and, you know, the kind of person he is now versus where he started out, which was just like totally self-interested.
Yeah.
Because he seems kind of ashamed of himself for, like, you know, how he used to be.
He has changed a lot. I like Turlough a lot. We'll talk about that in the next story, in the TV segment too.
Yes, of course.
So Memory Bank was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next we get up to The Last Fairy Tale. So this one I did not like as much. Essentially, what was this one even? I'm trying to remember what the actual overall plot line was, because they show up, the Doctor and Turlough show up in, like, it seems like an old-timey English, medieval times.
It's medieval Europe somewhere.
It's Ren Fair era, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And
so
they showed up and they're looking for the storyteller. The storyteller's going to come and tell them stories. That's all they care about. They think it's the Doctor.
But it ain't.
Turlough thinks it's the Doctor too because it makes sense. Because
it's like this like gross, disgusting fucking vagrant that they picked up on the way into town. And basically, Turlough and the vagrant are held hostage in the local pub by a hag, a dwarf, and a wolf because they're tired of the storyteller being the villains, portraying them as villains, even though they actually are a bunch of dickheads. So, you know, the Doctor and like the princess of the town kind of have to negotiate their way out of it. But then, lo and behold, turns out the dirty vagrant is actually the storyteller, and he tells a nice tale about a heroic hag, wolf, and dwarf, and then everything's okay because this storyteller is like from space because it's Doctor Who, and so he has been like wandering the planet telling tales, and he's the last of his kind, and now he's dying. So that was his, I guess, last act.
It was dumb.
It was silly.
It felt pointless.
It was a fluff piece along the lines of Castle of Fear, only it didn't have time to flesh itself out like Castle of Fear did, and it's not part of a trilogy like Castle of Fear was. So the
real problem with The Last Fairy Tale is the princess's voice was obnoxious.
I don't really recall.
And I didn't really care for most of the characters in this story.
Sorry.
It was like Doctor Who landed in just fairy tale land, and it was not... I don't know. It felt like a bad movie from the early 2000s.
By that, do you mean Shrek?
Not necessarily Shrek. There were others, like that. The one that was really weirdly animated, that was about Red Riding Hood.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember what it was called.
I don't think anybody cares.
Hoodwinked, maybe?
Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar.
There were multiples of those movies. It was not just Shrek.
Well, whatever. Anyway,
Next
yeah,
up,
it's the last fairy tale. I didn't hate it, but like it's got the same problem as like the lesser short trips do.
yeah,
where
exactly.
It's kind of like
It felt
yeah.
like nothing.
Yeah, this is an unnecessary half hour.
Yeah. Anyways, the next up is Repeat Offender, which was not bad, but I feel like we've seen the story before.
Yeah, kind of.
Isn't this the exact plot of that there was a space mining or like freight ship where the doctor showed up and they had video recordings of them showing up and stealing stuff out of the hold for like weeks?
Oh, Jupiter conjunction.
Yeah, it was just like that, but only half an hour.
Yeah, kind of. So like basically, the Doctor and Turlough are like tracking this energy being that's infesting people in Iceland in the future.
Yes.
And so then like when he exercises it, the lady's wife comes in and catches him and calls the cops, and apparently like it fits the MO of like these serial killings that have been happening around the apartment blocks, and the Doctor is being suspected, but it turns out that, you know, he's like, no, it's got to be this creature, it's still alive, and it's like jumping from person to person. So they like check the iCam feeds, and it shows the Doctor doing it because it's been forged and stuff, and so he's got to like talk the fucking inspector out of, you know, putting him in the clink, basically. Also, Turlough blows up the bathroom wall and jumps out because he's cool. And yeah, and like the previous victims of the killings is like different Doctor incarnations, I guess. But he's gonna put that right because he can do that, I guess. And then everything's all right, basically. Yeah, I don't know. I like this one. It was all right.
Yeah, I liked it too. I did like it.
I liked every story in this.
Felt like
set,
something
honestly,
I've totally seen before, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, I did enjoy the Doctor. I always enjoy the Doctor having to explain himself to the police. or not just the police, but just kind of like anybody who just has like no time for his bullshit.
Yes.
And I mean, in an amusing way. I mean, I get sick of the base commander who doesn't listen until it's too late. You know, just as much as anybody gets sick of that. But I don't know. There's merit to people who don't put up with nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the Jupiter conjunction, but you are right about that. I had also kind of thought of what it reminded me of was the two-parter from the first half of the fourth Doctor season this year, where with the evil internet thing.
Oh yeah, kinda.
Or it's actually a rocket ship made of flesh or something. Gross.
Yes. Oh man, that was a cool story.
That was a cool story.
And then so last up we have The Becoming, which what was this one again, Kate?
Well,
I remember liking it, but I don't remember.
Yes. So there's a young woman on an ice planet who's like climbing up a mountain to get some sort of like weird fruit or whatever for her like rite of adulthood passage, and the Doctor and Turlough arrive and they help her like flee from these like predators on the mountain, and they take her to this cave where she was supposed to bring the fruit, and there's like this big like bug thing in there that I guess like it's called the Pathfinder, and it like tells these people like what their vocation is basically in life, and it starts to try and kill her. So they rescue her, but because she has no path, she's banished from the village. And it turns out that the people who are rejected by the bug are become like they metamorphosize into the predator things. And so, but because they rescued what's her face before she was totally bugged, she's only kind of like halfway transformed, like she still kind of got her senses. So they go and they blow up the thing, and then they leave, basically in the hopes that Halfway Girl will forge a new reality closer to the heart.
Yeah, I had to listen to this one twice too, I think, and it still didn't stick.
I liked it, but I always like wintry things.
It's weird. It is a very weird story, and this is one of the I do appreciate the short trips like this where it's very conceptually interesting and out there, but
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot to it.
Well, part of what appealed to me the most outside of wintry settings is I liked the discussion between Turlough and the Doctor about how everything, all these weird elements fit together. You know, they're talking about, like, you know, this is an ecosystem. Everything has to have a niche. Everything, you know, this just doesn't have doesn't have weird shit just for arbitrary reasons. So, like, we can, like, rationally, like, figure this out. And that I thought was appealing, and I really liked their interplay on that front. Because I think the longer Doctor Who goes on, and the new series can be especially guilty of this, it's easy to write the Doctor where he just knows everything already. So I always like it when he has to do the detective work, and I especially like it when the companion is involved, and I especially like it even more when it actually follows a line of thought that makes sense to normal people. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you have a favorite story in this quartet?
Memory Bank. I really like the Memory Bank. It was a strong start. I think it was the strongest one overall. I mean, the only one I didn't really care for was The Last Fairy Tale, and even then, it wasn't like bad. We got a good batch of stories this time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think for me, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's either Memory Bank or The Becoming, and I don't know which. I find The Becoming is the most conceptually interesting to me.
Yeah.
But Memory Bank has pretty strong character work for Turlough, so I'm not really sure what I like more.
Yep. So last up, we have our TV story for the week, which is Planet of Fire, which is a pretty big episode for Doctor Who canon. Yeah, this is going to be a weird one to talk about because it is a very peculiar story that I think I kind of loved, but I do not think was very good overall.
It's okay.
There's okay. So the TARDIS, we don't even start. We start with just seeing what this planet is, which is it's basically a civilization that's literally built into a volcano. The volcano has not been active for a very long time, so they're like living and moving around in all of these like lava flow tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And they're super religious, or at least part of their civilization is very religious. I mean, we've seen that story a million times.
Yeah, there's a conflict between this contingent of elders and chosen ones that like worship the fire god of the volcano, and then there's also, you know, a faction of unbelievers.
And then there's their anointed chosen one, who is also kind of like halfway in between.
But yeah, he has his doubts.
The Doctor and Turlough land, and we find out that this is some sort of Trion, which is of course Turlough's planet. His people's it's related in some way.
So they're in Lanzarote.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, we start
with, like, you know, there's our new companion Peri, who whines to her stepdad basically, and almost drowns herself until Turlough rescues her because she wants to go and like bang some boys in Morocco or something.
No, that's totally not something. That's what she wanted to do.
Yeah. So and anyway, so yeah, she gets like swept up in all this because they found. I don't know how the fuck this works exactly, but like because like it's like an archaeological dig, and they did
a very poor job of explaining.
Yeah, on the bottom of the sea, they find this transmitter that's got Trion markings on it, and so Yeah, I have no idea why. But basically, so Turlough's there to like snatch that shit because he's being shifty and doesn't want to tell anyone. So then him and the doctor and Peri and Turlough and himself and also Turlough are all swept off to the fire planet because the master has put the whammy on Chameleon.
Also, yes, Chameleon is back.
Chameleon has, I guess, woken up from like his season-long nap.
Did you forget he's been in the TARDIS this whole time? Because Doctor Who didn't, after it did for like 6 stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't forget.
I know. I reminded you of it every single time we had a TV story.
He's just standing there in the corner. Probably like throw their coats over him and stuff.
Hey,
Anyway.
Kate, are we ever going to see Chameleon again? Besides that one time, I know he shows up again because he's been here this whole time. No, Dave. No one cares about Chameleon. He's not in any audios. No one gives a fuck.
Yep.
And after seeing the story, I understand why. I was ready. After he showed up again for the first time, I was like, okay, he needs to go.
Yeah, he really does. He's such a piece of shit. But anyway, so yeah, he's good. The master takes him over, and they go to the planet. And so basically, what happens is that the master is trying to fucking be a prick because he was working on a new Shrinko ray, and for some reason, I unplugged my headphones.
So Kate, remember?
That makes sense.
Remember back when the master first showed up? Kate?
Yeah. Oh, okay, there we go. Anyway, yes.
Do you remember back when the master first showed up?
Yes.
And then there was that period where for a whole season, every story had to do with the master, even though it was just like, you wrote a story and then he just shows up halfway through to like fuck around in the background.
Yep.
That was this all over again.
Well, I mean, this time he wasn't disguised as an evil genie in the time of the dinosaurs.
No.
Which is a thing that happened.
But, like we had an interest, like, well, maybe not a super interesting, but we had a somewhat interesting story because we have the Tryon background here. Even though we've seen the rest of this basic plot before, there is a mystery I'm sure both of us wanted uncovered because we like Turlough.
Yes.
And lore is fun.
Right.
And then the master just shows the fuck up to be like,
here I come to derail the plot.
yeah, yes. Because
I mean, I feel like he's not entirely superfluous because if this had not had the master and his nefarious schemes, I like just another rehash of the fucking Seva team. Like, I don't think I could have dealt with that.
No.
But anyway, yeah. So the master like accidentally shrunkosed himself when he was making a new Shrinko ray, and that's terribly embarrassing. So he's taken over Chameleon to get the TARDIS to go there so he can use the volcanic poo gas to restore himself because it has healing properties.
Yes.
And anyway, so it turns out that the people on this planet are like it was the remnants of the indigenous people who were there, but they're using all these like Tryon equipment and stuff they're using that they found because a big Tryon ship that was actually Turlough's father's ship crashed, and there was a civil war on Tryon, which we've heard about before. The Doctor doesn't know this still at this point. They were very careful about that in the audios. We know a little bit. We didn't know everything, but there was a civil war. Turlough's family was on the losing side, so his father and his infant brother were exiled to this planet, and their ship crashed. And Turlough was sent to Earth. So it turns out that the chosen one of the fire hoodoos is Turlough's brother. They both have the same branding, which marked them as political prisoners that these people have taken to mean that they were sent from the gods or whatever. But the volcano is going to blow, so Turlough has to call home as much as at great risk to himself, so that a rescue ship can come from Tryon to like get these people out of here. But it turns out that things have kind of settled down, so political prisoners, he's basically free. What else? Oh yeah, so the Doctor just like straight up fucking kills Chameleon.
Yes, he shrinks in with the shrink ray, and like to the point where his little tiny toy-like body is on fire because of the crushing of the circuits. But Chameleon does beg him to kill him, but like, and I was like, I feel like the Doctor wouldn't do this. He'd try to find another way. But on the other half of me was like, yeah, fucking do it. Fuck Chameleon. Because like, so I've been wondering what the fuck Chameleon, like he's just been there. I know the whole backstory where it's a shitty animatronic robot that never worked that the producer bought because he thought he looked cool.
But the thing that is bizarre to me about this is that it's already built into the story that he can shapeshift. Why not just have him become a person and then say, "Oh, my thing's broken. I'm locked this way."
Because I feel like the way that it didn't work was so upsetting that they were just like, fuck it. Just no, I don't even want to think about it.
Well, anyway, so yeah, the Doctor like kills Chameleon. Well,
which is good because oh my god, when he would scream because the Master was taking over his brain, I wanted to punch the stupid robot in the face.
Good. So anyway, but like, so the Master's like bathing in the poo gas flames, but then it turns back into normal flames and he burns to death, and the Doctor kind of just stands there and watches.
Did he burn to death? I was very confused as to what the fuck was happening in that scene.
Well, he kind of like, yeah, he was vaporized in a volcano, but don't worry, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I figure it looked like he went somewhere, like he got banished to another dimension because he didn't burn. He like turned into a he turned into a shadow figure.
Yeah, he got Thanos and kind of just. So
not even that. He became a shadow. Like
this story. I remember reading. I don't know if this is true, but they were planning to just like get rid of the Master in this story, and I'm glad they didn't because this would have been a pretty lame send off. But
we skipped around a lot too because I would like to start by saying the first episode of this story is really fucking boring.
Yeah,
it's like I like after by the end of the story I liked Peri. I'm excited.
What did you think of her accent?
I'm really over Doctor Who having British people do bad American accents.
Yeah, well, I mean, she has gotten better with it in the audios, but it is the subject of much mockery.
I mean, I like her as a character. I thought she they put her through a bunch in this story. Like she gets lost in like this weird desert because this is just like a mountainous desert planet basically, and she has to kind of like.
Which with pretty good location work, by the way. Like, I actually went to Lanzarote.
And she has to, like, you know, gather up the courage and, like, drive forward on her own, and then she helps out and stuff. And I was cool with that, but her introduction is terrible. The whole first episode is just bad. It's so slow. Nothing happens. It's Peri arguing with her stepdad, who then just...
She's on leave from university, and you know, she's like, I don't got to be back in New York for 3 months, so I want to go to Morocco and fuck people.
Yeah.
Let me just strip off into my bikini and drown myself.
Yes, that was very peculiar for Doctor Who as well. Lots of exposed skin.
Lots of skin. But, yeah, anyway, so, sorry. By the end, I mean, Turlough has decided to go home, and Peri is going to go with the Doctor. So,
we're skipping a very important part of the middle, which is Peri holding a shoe and chasing around a tiny version of the Master. Oh my god. And that whole sequence, I was like, I think I fucking love this story.
It's like if I had one too many edibles, like what in fuck's name is going on?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
It was
like that's just embarrassing.
This is a very weird story.
There's like some big important things and lots of lore, but there's a lot of hokey shit in this fucking episode. Especially like even the Master's like little lab box that he's working in looks like your dad's shed, basically. Like there's bits of like pipe and wire just like all over the place and just like
come on, tell me you didn't love that scene of her chasing around the little tiny Master with the shoe.
No!
Like she's a fucking guy, like it's a goddamn Looney Tune.
That's retarded.
It was so great.
It's fucking stupid as hell.
Stupid.
Whatever, Turlough's out. Peri's in. Hooray.
Yes, and then Turlough he calls in a Tryon rescue ship and then goes with them, which I felt like was a big moment for Turlough. I felt like he kind of grew in this episode too. Like he got to take charge and yell a lot, but not in an obnoxious way.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too is like, even though basically political prisoners have all been released by this point, he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And when he calls it in to save these people, it is at risk to himself, which is not the kind of thing he would have done back in the beginning.
This episode was really just I think this episode served to show how much Turlough has learned from the Doctor during his time traveling together.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's more impactful now that we've had the audios in line, because a lot of his TV episodes don't really give him as much to do as he should have had.
Yeah. Totally.
But, I mean, it's all right, because I mean that's what Big Finish has been doing for 20 years, is fixing the BBC's fuck ups, basically. So what? Yeah, I mean,
I feel like Turlough was very well serviced in this goodbye.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it was like, it's not like it'd be like, oh man, you gotta watch the Turlough last episode. It'd be like, it's good. It's a really good moment for Turlough, but it's fucking weird and fun and boring at times, and kind of just nonsense.
Yeah, I was sad to see Turlough go. I was happy to see Chameleon.
Though I tell you what, seeing this story, I was like, you know what, the John Sim Master maybe isn't totally out of left field.
Yeah, Anthony Ainley could be pretty bad sometimes.
Like this is very cartoonish. This is.
I'm not a fan.
I know. I knew.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I don't really have strong feelings about Peri one way or the other, but I don't think that as much as this was a good showcase for Turlough, I think this is not a very good showcase for Peri, because she starts out the episode bitching to her dad and getting herself into trouble. And she spends a fair bit of the first couple of episodes wandering around the volcanic slag heaps by herself.
I think it was conceptually an interesting thing to do to her character. Like, that's kind of terrifying,
I guess, but I mean, it's
they didn't
like,
do anything with it though.
No, until she meets up with the Master, like at the very end of part 2. Like, she's like, the rest of the entire plot is happening elsewhere. Like,
yeah,
she's not really doing much, and so because of that, it doesn't really give us much of a chance to get to know her as a companion and how she behaves in these kinds of situations. And even then, I mean, she's got a bit of a mouth, and that's pretty much all you really learn about her. And,
which I'm okay with, because I miss Tegan.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Tegan is the queen of having a mouth. So.
No one will ever beat Tegan, except the only one who ever came close was Jackie Tyler.
I was gonna say Donna, but all right. But yeah, no, I kind of wish they had Peri more involved from the get-go, and kind of, but I mean, it's a hard balancing act, and I don't really fault the episode for it too much, because they have to do service to Turlough first, and Peri's got a billion more episodes to shine or to not shine, I guess, as the case may be.
Yeah.
So priorities, I guess, but yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag.
I liked it, but it is not good. It is okay at best, but it has some really good stuff in it and some really bad stuff in it.
He's Master Shrinkhost himself.
The Master did Shrinkhost himself. Are we sure he Shrinkhost himself? I thought the Doctor booby trapped his TARDIS, so when he got into it, it shrunk.
No. He Shrinkhost himself because they said that he was working on a new and more deadly version of his Shrinkhost gun.
Also,
he too powerful, and it Shrinkhost himself.
I have no fucking idea what happened to the Master at the end, and I don't think the episode really knew either.
No, it's almost as like they were gonna go through with their plan to kill him off until like the last possible second, and then they decided not to.
So they just had this very weird special effect instead.
Yeah, basically.
Peculiar.
It's well, like I feel like they decided not to kill him off, but they didn't actually change the script any. So
I was not prepared for Turlough to go away, even though I knew as soon as the episode started and there was Tryon stuff, I was like, "Oh no, Turlough's leaving! Oh no!"
I do my best to shelter you from spoilers, but
I know that was a good one. I wish I would have known this is. So this is our last Turlough audio.
Thus far, yeah.
Aww.
I mean, actually, I think there is a short trip that came out like last month with Turlough, but it wasn't like in my timeline because it's pretty new. But
yeah,
we'll have, I think, one more Turlough. Let's see. Let me look. I'm kind of curious now. Fifth Doctor. Trap for Fools. Yeah, it's a short trip with Turlough.
it's exciting, but I am gonna miss Turlough. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Who would have thought?
Well, it's amazing how your opinion of generally disliked companions can change when you have actual character development in audio.
Yes.
Instead of standing around doing nothing on TV.
Hey man, Tegan developed on TV too. She was one of the rare ones that actually got to go through some shit and become a better person and character.
Not be such a bitch all the time.
Yeah, but when she was, it was fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, most of the time.
She's a great bitch.
She is. So now we have Peri. Are we gonna get another companion soon as well?
With Peri?
No, I mean like a second one. We don't usually have one.
Not on television.
Okay. Oh no. What does that mean? How many audios do we have now, Kate?
Like 6 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to the to the model of the Doctor and one female companion, and that's pretty much the way it is for the rest of the show. There's not another male companion until Captain Jack.
No.
At least not on TV.
That sucks.
I mean, a little bit.
I miss Turlough so much already.
Good.
Alrighty then. So what's up for next time, Kate?
Well, I'm not sure. Because since we've been off the Erasure, we've had the second half of the Fourth Doctor Adventures season 7 has been released. So I think we'll do one of those per week, like before. However, because we were off for so long, the Second Doctor Companion Chronicles box set has also come out. So I'm not sure if you want to do like finish Fourth Doctor and then do Second Doctor, or if you want to do like one of each per week, or like what do you want?
Well, we definitely do. We have 6 weeks worth of Doctor and Peri audios for like.
Yeah,
we should definitely need to be doing those.
Well,
so,
yes, obviously.
What's the release schedule looking like? If we just did one, not one of each, but like one a week, so then do Fourth Doctor and then the Companion Chronicles, or you said it was a Companion Chronicles, or was it the Second Doctor Adventures box set?
It's a Companion Chronicle set.
Okay, so then do one of those a week after that.
Well, let's see. Release schedule wise, I mean, there's nothing for us for the rest of the month. The next thing would be still nothing. Yeah, the next thing for us is the September short trip. So yeah, September short trip, and also the early adventure season in September. So we have the rest of the summer basically to finish this backlog.
Yeah, I think we'll be good if we do that. Then we don't want to overburden ourselves.
All right then. So next week we'll have the second half of the Fourth Doctor season with the first episode, the 5th episode of the season, The Shadow of London, with our Tom Baker and Leela Pila. Oh man! So then we've got a trio of Fifth Doctor audios. because that's our life. That's just our life now. We have a short trip rule book. We have 2 monthly audios, which is Red Dawn and Eye of the Scorpion.
Nice. Hopefully they're good.
See.
So we will be back with that next time. Thank you, everyone.